All right, go ahead.
So we're live here with Kristy Titus. We just got back from that Snake River match, and she was there and shot it. And she actually was one of her contest winners, correct?
Yeah.
And he shot it as well. She coached him up. They both shot really well. Kristy actually won top female shooter, correct?
Yeah, I did. It was super awesome. It's more and more ladies are showing up to matches, and the ladies that do come are usually super incredible shooters. So I was very honored to take that top lady trophy because I've been shooting them for a couple of years and haven't taken that before. So it's pretty cool to be shooting alongside. I mean, obviously you guys know some of the best shooters in the country show up at those matches, or the best shooters in the country.
I would say.
And then there's us. No offense.
Yeah. There was a lot of good shooters there. But like
you shot really well too, Blake.
Yeah, I did shoot really good.
You burned it down.
I was pretty surprised, actually. Yeah. I made a few adjustments from the first match, and the second match did turn out really good for me. So, but without all the support, I couldn't shoot that well. So, but yeah, there is a lot of ladies. I think there was more ladies at this match that we went to than Laramie.
Yeah, there definitely was. I think there's like only one that I remember from Laramie, but also we didn't RO that match. We just shot it. So we're in our own squads
wanted to get the feel for everything. So anyway, we want to go over with you what gear you used, your importance from first to last, what you think new people or new hunters, new shooters coming into this NRL hunting match should anticipate bringing, I guess.
Yeah, so I think, being successful at the Hunter series, first of all, a lot of hunters up until recently, you would do like a duplex reticle hold, like, 350 yards, hold 6 inches high and send it. Like this whole Kentucky windage era, precision shooting has really transformed that to where, as a hunter, we can expect and demand from our equipment point of aim, point of impact accuracy, which is super awesome. And we can expect to get that in normal hunting ranges, especially. So, when you're hunting inwards of 300 yards, it really takes a heck of a wind to have to hold for wind. Right. But just knowing that you have that, competence to literally send that bullet wherever you want it to go is awesome. So, with point of aim, point of impact, I think the best thing you can do is have good data. And good math equates to good data coming out of your rifle, and learning how to get good data is probably the best investment you can make, because most rifles anymore are capable of sub-minute of angle accuracy. So it's smaller groups and 1 inches at 100 yards. And even with factory ammo, you can expect that performance, or better. If you have good data when you get to distance, then you know that your rifle and your gear, for the most part, in modern day production time, is capable of probably shooting better than a lot of people that are actually operating the firearm.
Right. And that proves a good point, because me and Jared actually went out and shot the SIG rifle, factory gun, factory ammo, and we were shooting sub-minute.
Right out of the box. We're actually they shot super well. And honestly, the match before that, we picked up some Savage ultralights, and like you said, just production gun, does have a proof barrel on it, but it's factory. Those shot super amazing. I mean, after I got it sighted in, I had probably a half-minute gun, factory ammo, factory gun. So it's like, I would agree with that as well. Data's huge, because the guns can do it.
Right.
The majority on the market can do it. It's do you have that data behind it? So
and what did you guys run for your data? Are you running a Kestrel?
Yeah, so we both ran Kestrel 5700 Elites, but we were actually pretty new to the Kestrel. Before the matches, we were running Street Lock Pro and Hornady. They're free apps for anybody out there that likes them. We like them.
The Street Lock Pro you have to pay for, but that Hornady app is really awesome. What is it? I was watching a modern day sniper, Philip Vallejo and Kaylin. I don't want to mess up his last name, but I seen that they were using that Hornady ballistic app, and our first match we kind of cross referenced all three because we were like, oh, we're not sure which one to use, and they're all really similar. I mean, they'll get you good data for the most part, I believe, if you plug in the right numbers.
Yeah, and so I think that's the difficult part because plugging in those numbers and what doing what we call truing your data at distance, and that's kind of a trademark terminology, not by me. I believe that's a Todd Hodnett trademark. But taking that data, meaning the velocity of your projectile, muzzle velocity. So it would be either your magneto speed or some other sort of chronograph. And then entering your rifle barrel twist rate, entering in your scope height, your zero range, and then taking that and coupling it with the bullet weight you're shooting, and then also the BC. And there's a couple ways, once you input that data, you're going to get a number that's going to spit out, and it's going to get you pretty close. The thing that your data tends to want to trail off as you get farther and farther out in distance. So, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 yards, that data might be really spot on, but then it starts to maybe be a little inconsistent past that 600 or 700 yards. And that's where the truing comes in. So taking that data, getting behind your gun and verifying that your bullet's actually hitting where the program says it's supposed to hit before you shoot a match. Because sometimes there's distance inconsistency in a tenth or two. And there's a couple ways to fine tune that data. Some people adjust their muzzle velocity. I don't. I was taught that you adjust your bullet BC until your data hits or says that you should be shooting whatever you're dialing to actually hit that said target at that distance. So there's a lot of ways to do things, and I can only tell you guys the ways that works for me or that I've been taught. So I adjust the bullet BC at distance and not my velocity.
Right. And yeah, I think you're 100% right on that. Another thing that we can add, or I can add to that, is for a new person coming into the match or a new hunter, don't be afraid to ask questions to anybody. Anybody at these matches were super helpful, and they will help you. If you're not hitting target and you're not positive, don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah. And a lot of the match directors, at a couple of the training or shoots that I've been to this year, they'll have trainings or match days in advance. So like, for example, if there's a Saturday match, they might have a Thursday, like a match warm up where they run 10 stages as a practice, or someone like Phil Vallejo will come in and offer a full training day midweek prior to a match. So you can get the kinks out of your system, figure out what your data is, have coaching, and then actually register and shoot over that weekend. For new shooters, that's a really valuable asset, coming into it. And then a lot of people in the NRL side, especially Jake Vibert, for example, like on those practice matches, he brings his daughter, and that's his time. He shoots his practice rifle, and that's his time to coach his kid. And he can really focus on getting his kid at a practice match, having her have a good experience. And then over the real match over the weekend, you can kind of focus on the match for yourself, and not feel bad about that,
Right. So I guess my question is level of importance. What would be your level of importance on what you would bring to this match?
So
are you talking about like a hunter match?
Yeah, like what's the most important thing? I mean, besides yourself, your rifle, like piece of gear, what do you think? Like something you got to have?
So your arm board for your data. when I'm shooting a regular NRL match where I know where the targets are and I can create like a dope chart that I put that actually mounts to the side of my rifle scope, that's at a different match format. But for NRL Hunter is the arm board. So what I do the Friday before we shoot the match is I get my data, get a rough, density, altitude, run that data. I verify that data in the morning, and then I have just like a index card filled out with my ranges out to like 1,100 yards. And I leave my wind holds. I hold a spot on my data card for 3 wind holds. And I kind of, I used to fill those in. And actually at this match, I had another shooter coach me, because where we practiced or sighted in on Friday wasn't where we were shooting on Saturday. And so, if we have a predominant 3 o'clock wind at the practice area, and then we get to actually, where we're shooting and it's a 2 o'clock wind, or it's a, 6 o'clock or whatever it is, it's a different wind direction. Or as you progress through the course of fire and your positions change and that wind angle changes or the wind is changing. So I leave 3 blank spots on that data card. And I did, on my data card underneath, it'll have my data wrote in hard, like in permanent pen. And then it sits with a plastic sheeting over the top. And when I range my targets, I actually circle the entire segment that I'm shooting with dry erase. And as I kind of walk up to a stage, I'm going to guess before I shoot it where I think I'm shooting and try to figure out a rough wind hold. So if I think I'm going to be shooting over the ridge and I think the wind's going to be coming down the canyon, just based on what you can assume, then I can write in with a wet erase, like a rough wind hold, and give me, 2 or 3 wind hold options. So whether it's a 5, 10, 15 or a 15, 20, 25, whatever, that will give me, kind of some holds. And I'll do those in wet erase in 100-yard increments, because between, 7 and 800, there's really not a lot of difference a lot of times with your wind hold. So then I can start bracketing wind. So if I know I miss, left edge with a 5 mile an hour wind hold, I can look down really quick at my card and go, okay, well, I need to hold a 10 or I need to hold an 8. So now I'm going to go from holding 0.4 to 0.6 or 0.6 to 1.0 or whatever it is. And that makes me bracketing my wind calls a little faster. So my arm board, if I didn't have a way to just reference that stuff really quickly at the NRL Hunter series, it would be really tough to shoot.
Yeah, I actually seen guys, they had their kestrel right there and they would range and then they would go through their kestrel. And I feel like that armband, I ran one too, Blake ran one as well. Yeah. Same thing with the wet erase or dry erase. And that's a huge time saver. And instead of trying to thumb through your kestrel. So
the only problem, like at this match last weekend, was it rained. So wet erase, dry erase sucked. So I was oh my gosh, where's my data that I circled?
Wax pen.
Yeah.
Way to go. Yeah.
Going back to wind, especially on my stage, Kristy, I think 80% of people were missing because of wind.
Yeah.
We had a ravine on my stage where a lot of people didn't think about the wind coming down the ravine.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
I had the wind call on your stage nailed, and I was really slow setting up your stage because I found the target really quickly, but I made the rookie mistake of really not getting train association features to that target. So as soon as I came off my binoculars and I transitioned to my rifle, then I was like, well, crud. I didn't mentally know a terrain association. So, when you glass up the target, instead of just being like, oh yeah, there it is, and jumping behind your rifle, because my binocular is also my rangefinder, it's making that terrain association. Okay, what is in the surrounding picture? What am I looking at that goes with it, so that when I come off the binoculars and I'm behind my rifle, I have terrain association features so I can quickly acquire my target. And I bombed that on your stage. It caused me the timeout. I mean, it was rough, but once I got on the gun, I nailed it. It was just like rookie mistake, right? I mean, like, how could I just was so excited to get through the stage and, you know.
Yeah. Do you have a question for Kristy?
So I think that the gear most important. I mean, new shooter, new hunter, somebody that's thinking about doing this. Do you have anything to tell them to? I mean, I know like the NRL offers a loaner rifle, so
Yeah.
really, bring yourself. I mean, do you got anything to tell them?
Well, there's a million ways of doing things in precision shooting, and there's a million techniques of how to do something. And there's a lot of people that are going to give you advice that works for you, and some people are going to give you advice that isn't going to work for you. Just get their advice, whoever it is. Like when I shoot a match, I ask a lot of questions from other shooters. How are you doing this? What are you doing? Like for example, the wind stuff. I was super stressed out about the wind because I'm like, how can I write in a hard wind call on my arm board when I don't even know what my direction of fire is going to be? And so I asked a top 5 shooter, like, hey, how did you run your arm board? And that's when he was like, look, I do it in wet erase and I do it in 100-yard increments. And then if I need to change it, if a stage appears to be, if you're shooting in a 360-degree circle, if I know I'm going to be making what I think is going to be a big difference, just don't be afraid to ask. There's a million bags out there. The really good guys that are super fast are running like a game changer bag, for example. And I have a game changer bag. Well, I was running a game changer bag that was from like 3 years ago. And I showed up and my buddies are like, whoa, Titus, bag technology evolves. Technology and shooting gear evolves. So I have yet to go to a match where I'm not like, oh, I need to go buy this new bag. So, the fill of your bag matters. The weight of your bag matters. And the guys that are super good can throw down one bag and they can clean a course of fire. For me, because I'm small, I've learned that if I can have something like a cuddle bag where I can increase my odds of getting an additional point of contact. So the cuddle bag's over my chest. I don't know if you noticed it, but I walked up to your stage, it was over my stomach. And then if I need to fill in an elbow gap between my thigh and an elbow, I have that and I can just zip it around and gaining that extra stability. Like when you're 6 foot tall, your knees are, everything's bigger. You can lock your elbow in faster, but a lot of times when you're little, it's a little tougher. So, just figuring out where your consistencies are. The last NRL match I shot, I hadn't been using my tripod as a rear support because it's really slow. And for me, a lot of times I time out on my stages because I'm just not as quick moving my gear. And so you have to kind of, as a new shooter, look at it like when I step up to the line, I want to make my shots count. The most important thing I can do is observe my first impact or miss and try to collect as much information from that first shot as possible. So on that first shot, did I miss right edge? Did I miss left edge? If I hit, try to tell, did I hit center? Did I hit right edge of plate? Did I hit left edge of plate? Because, if the wind is gusting or lulling or your data's off a little, you might be able to make a quick change that will get you a second round impact without wasting a lot of time. So really watching, that first shot is so important. But also, if I know I'm walking up to a stage and I'm like, okay, well, chances are, I might only get 8 hits off because I'm probably going to be a little slower. Sometimes it's worth it bringing a little bit of extra gear that's going to stabilize your shots and you make the ones that you shoot actually count. So I started using my tripod as a rear support again because it is slower, which, costs you time. And when you're at a certain level, you need to be fast. But from where I'm at, I'm like, okay, well, if I'm only going to get 8 shots off, I want 8 to hit or 7 to hit. And so I'm going to try to make myself as stable as possible. And so experimenting, with gear is super important too.
Right. Yep. Yeah. We had that conversation after the match. about running your tripod as a rear support.
Yeah.
I saw guys do it and they were really effective at it. Even if it takes a little bit of time, you're 100% more steady.
And in a hunting scenario, I mean, we're all about first round impacts, right? One shot, one kill. So it's, I mean, like you said, slow down, make your impacts, when you press that trigger or pull that trigger, make it count.
Yeah. And most of my hunting, if you guys watch my series, most of my rifle hunts that I do, there are a few times where I'm fortunate to get prone, but most of my hunting shots are standing tripod shots. And so for hunting ranges, you know, the cool thing about competing is it really helps me identify when I should press the trigger and feel super good about it, and when I should walk away from pressing the trigger, even if I have something in my crosshairs, because, you know, you're not shooting a steel target, you're, you know, shooting an animal, and, you know, it helps you identify some limitations for sure.
Right, right. So when I stepped into this match, I kind of made it a point to shoot off of my tripod. I know myself, I can shoot prone. I know I can do that. So I made it a point to pull my tripod out every single time. And yeah, there's stages I didn't use it, but I'd say 75% of that course, I shot off a tripod.
Did you see? I didn't even use my tripod, but for a couple of stages.
Yeah.
But I use my bipod a lot. I use my bag a lot, and I use that cuddle bag thing actually quite a lot. But I think I only used my tripod on like 1 or 2 stages all weekend. I use it a lot.
Okay. Okay. Another question.
But there's a million ways to do it, you know.
Yeah,
So
well, that goes back to your advice. Take people's advice and try different things. Don't be scared to try it, and whatever works for you, stick with that. That's how I feel. Kind of leading into that, how realistic do you think these matches are to hunting?
I don't hunt at 900 yards. We had a 900-yard stage, you know. I mean, so, you know, it's fun to stretch the legs on your rifle and your limitations of your equipment, and I mean, I was stoked to hit the 900-yard target, but I'm not hunting at 900 yards. But I think that any type of shooting you can do that puts you into an unknown position to where you have to find the target, get the range, and build your shooting position without a team of people helping you, giving you help with your wind calls. You're running a one-man competition, and it's solely on you. That's really good training for hunting, because when you get out there, you're not necessarily going to have someone tell you what to do or help you range your target or tell you how to shoot or engage the animal. I mean, you have to do that yourself. So it's good training for anybody. And
Right.
it's fun. Like, it's an adrenaline dump. Like, you walk up to a stage and you're like,
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah, my heart's always pounding every time they hit the timer and you're going to find your target. It's adrenaline rush. It's awesome. Anything you want to add, Jared?
No, I just want to thank you for your time, and thank you for the little bits and advice that you've given us and our viewers, and we appreciate you.
yeah, there's so much gear. Like, I mean, I just think get out there and shoot a match and have some fun. I mean, like, I don't know. Are you running Arca Swiss on that gun behind you?
Yeah. So this is an Arca Swiss. The first match we did was not. We didn't run Arca because we were shooting factory class, and that gun wouldn't allow us to do it.
Yeah.
But me personally, I love Arca.
It's awesome.
Yeah. I shot my deer, the one that you see behind Jared.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, so I shot him off of an Arca. You'll see in the next videos, but I shot him at 400 yards.
And I shot my antelope. If you check out our videos, like you said, standing off a tripod, off this tripod here, actually Arca. So I think it's changing the Western hunting for sure.
Yeah.
The cool thing about these matches is the R&D that's happening at these hunter matches right now is revolutionizing how firearms manufacturers are building rifles. So what you guys find and learn at these matches anybody that shows up is the trend that's going to go forward into the next year's gun industry. And it really is revolutionizing things. And, you know, obviously the construction of a traditional hunting rifle is a lot different than a lot of these match rifles that people are shooting. But I also don't want it to be a discouraging thing for people to come out and shoot thinking they don't have the gear. You know, if you don't have the gear, like you said, NRL has tons of loaner gear. They'll give you ammo. I shot on a squad with a girl. It was her 15th birthday, and she wanted her 16th birthday, and she wanted to shoot a match for her birthday. And her dad was like, "Well, I don't have a gun, but NRL will loan you one." And that was her birthday gift from her dad as he spent the weekend with her. And they had a great weekend shooting. And I mean, they gave her everything that she needed, because it can be expensive. But like you guys were saying, I shoot Ruger. You can buy an affordable rifle and start shooting these competitions, and you don't have to spend your money on a $6,000 gun to come out and have fun.
Yeah, there was actually a guy that RO'd with us. He was shooting like a top loading Remington 700
Yeah.
Boone and Crockett scope, and I'm pretty sure he shot just as well as Blake did.
Yeah.
I mean, he shot way better than I did. I didn't shoot very well this match, but he actually did really well, and I was super impressed. And like, he had just one shooting bag. He didn't even shoot off a tripod. He was shooting offhand. I mean, and he did really well. It was really fun to watch, actually.
Yeah, it was a great match all around. And going back to don't be afraid to ask for help. Everybody I met at this match was super awesome and super helpful. And if I'm ever at a match and there's a new shooter that needs something and I have extra or whatever the case might be, I don't mind loaning any of my stuff out.
Well, and that's the cool thing. Every time I've shot a match, everybody that I've squatted with or has been around me, they've been willing to share gear, tripods, equipment. Like, hey man, try my whatever. And that's super awesome. And that type of community is really neat to be part of, because, you know, at the end of the day, everybody shoots a different match because the wind is doing something different for everybody that walks up to that course of fire for the most part. I mean, obviously there's some consistency there, but it's an individual game, but everybody helps each other as well.
Yep. Well, I think
We gotta go.
that's good for all of our questions. Off topic, things coming up on our channel, Bread Outdoors. We have a young kid named Dylan. We've said in recent videos. Dylan reached out to us through YouTube and through Instagram. Dylan has leukemia. He's been fighting it for about a year and a half now. He's been going to treatments every day, and just recently he's only doing treatments once a month. So what we want to ask you, Kristy, is do you have anything you want to say to Dylan? We are taking him elk hunting, third season rifle. Is there any advice or anything that you want to relay a message to help him out?
Dylan, I just want to tell you to stay strong and keep fighting, and say, be thankful for all these people. We all love you, and we have your back, and everybody is cheering you on, and we wish you all the luck on your elk hunt, and we hope you have a wonderful time.
All right. Thank you, Kristy. Thank you for the message to Dylan. Thank you for all your info. And we will see you later.